Hey fellow garden gnomes, it's Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. It's January 28th in northern New Brunswick, and so I am nowhere near going out in the garden. However, I am starting to prepare for the garden and specifically for starting seeds, because I will probably start some of my earliest seeds in about 3/4 of a month-ish. I'll aim for like mid to just after mid-February for my peppers and onions. And so number one task of preparation is going through my seed collection, seeing what I need. And in this case, I finally decided to actually throw out some seeds, which is a big deal because I am kind of a hoarder. Anytime I see seeds are remaining after a summer or spring and summer, I figure, well, I'll keep them for the next year and I'll use them next year because I don't want them to go to waste. But that's how you end up with seeds that are 10 years old. And some seeds last a decent while, nowhere near 10 years. The longest some vegetable variety seeds will last are 4 to 5 years. Certain varieties like parsnip and onion, those seeds will only last a year. There's some vegetable seeds that will last 2 to 3, and then, like I said, some will last 4 to 5. But even with those that are supposed to last 4 or 5 years, as they get older, their germination rate does lower, meaning that when you plant them, the amount of seeds that you can expect to germinate is less. And I'm really aiming to grow as much of my own food as possible, so I really can't afford to spend time planting seeds that have a much lower likelihood of germinating. As a result, I decided to finally go through my seed collection and sort out everything that is older than 3 years. So anything that has a packing date of 2022 or earlier, and I do have ones that go back to 2016, they're getting thrown out. So I'm going to turn you around and I'm going to show you the results of me sorting my seeds. First, what I am keeping, and then what I'm throwing out. I keep my seeds in these photograph boxes in this larger suitcase. But these are the ones I'm keeping. I've got some artichokes, black beans, red noodle beans, broccoli, lettuce, Chinese cabbage, carrots, including tender sweet carrots and Nantes carrots, Turkish orange eggplant, Casper eggplant. This is just a wildflower combination, some more lettuce. Now this is the one that is older than 3 years that I am keeping, and the only reason is because this is the only variety of kale that I really like because it has like a smooth leaf, and for whatever reason West Coast Seeds doesn't carry this variety anymore. So I'm going to plant it, hope that some comes up, and then see if I can keep it until it bolts and produces some seed, which kale is a biennial, so I'll have to keep it through the winter. Okra, pepper, two different types of bell pepper, giant pumpkin, pak choi, which is sort of a type of bok choy, as far as I understand anyway, radishes, sorrel, spinach, and some paste tomato and some larger tomato, and then one cherry tomato variety. So, you probably think that that's a decent amount of seeds, right? Well, let me take you over to all the ones that I'm throwing out, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these because there are so many that they are like piled up on each other. So like I said, some of that goes back to 2016, and I kept them year after year, and finally I'm sucking it up and I'm throwing them out. Now in the seeds that I'm keeping, I didn't have every single type of vegetable that I'll want to plant this spring and summer, and so I have already ordered a few more seeds, and I figured in this video, once they arrive, I'll show them to you. So here's my seed order. It finally came in, and I got it from my gardener. And something that was kind of cool is this was in the bag, and I believe this is like an empty seed packet for if I decide to save seeds at some point. So that's cool. Anyway, I'll just show you what I got here. So I got some golden bantam corn, some sweet corn, some golden snow peas. Now usually I've always grown green snow peas, so this is my first time trying these, so hopefully they're pretty good. Then I needed a few varieties of basil, so I've got some mammoth basil, which are like big leaves that you can use to like make wraps and stuff. Thai basil, because I do like my Thai and Vietnamese food. Lemon basil, because it smells freaking amazing. And then Genovese basil, which is just your typical basil that you use in pestos and Italian food and everything. And then I've got some jewel mix nasturtium, and nasturtium are edible flowers as well as the leaves are edible. Now the leaves are quite peppery, so I might throw a few in with pesto when I make it, or I might cut them up into strips and throw them in the salad too, but you only need a little bit. And here's some garbanzo bush beans, or also known as chickpeas. I love chickpeas, so I thought it'd be cool to try growing these. This will be the first year I've tried growing them. Edamame, I don't know if I've had this variety, but I have grown edamame before, and I've been pretty happy with how productive it's been. And this year I'm trying to grow things that I that I use a lot, and I do use a lot of edamame. So these are Kentucky Wonder Pole Bean. I just needed a green climbing bean. Red acre cabbage. I really enjoy red cabbage, although in the past I've grown a lot of cabbage, and I don't want to do that anymore because it takes up so much space. So now I'm only going to grow maybe like 4 plants of it. This is cool. This is purple cauliflower. I've never done the purple cauliflower before. I've only done white, but with the white, it tends to only be, I tend to only get small florets. So we'll see how that goes. Peppers, so trusty jalapeno pepper. That's my preferred spicy pepper. Red Corno di Toro pepper. I always like these. And then getting into the pumpkins. I love growing, I love carving pumpkins for Halloween. And so I've been trying to grow some big pumpkins to carve the past couple of years. And they just haven't been successful, unfortunately. So I'm going to give it another shot. Daikon radish. These actually did pretty well for me last year. Spaghetti squash. Sun gold tall sunflower. I really like that look of a sunflower. I'm not sure if I got the other one, the teddy bear sunflower too, but this is the mammoth sunflower, so a really tall sunflower. The one tough thing about this is I've noticed in past years when I've grown these, the head will get so big that it'll just like snap the stem. So I don't know, hopefully that was just a fluke, I guess. Mixed sunflower. Got a couple sunflowers because they're nice to have. They look good. Rainbow Swiss chard. Tiger melons, similar to pumpkins, I struggle to grow melons. And so these Tiger melons are small. And so I figured, when I have such a short growing season, it's best to go for the small melons. And then I've got some Crenton leeks. In the past years, I've grown leeks, and although they haven't gotten like super thick, they've gotten a nice enough size, and I've grown enough of them that I'll cut them up and I'll freeze them and I'll use them throughout the year, and that's really great. And then I got two types of onions. This is a Pompeii, a white onion, and this is a red onion. And then finally I've got borage, which is an edible flower, but I personally prefer I've never really had the flowers. I just like the borage plants in my garden because the bees love this plant. Like, there'll always be so many bees on those flowers. And then lastly, the marketer cucumber. In past years, I've gotten cucumbers that are good for pickling as well, but I've since realized that I don't really like, at least water bath canning pickled cucumbers, because they get all mushy and stuff. So I figure I'll just grow cucumbers for, fresh eating. So what I'll do is I'll look at the back of those seed packets, and they'll tell me, approximately how many weeks before the last frost I should be planting the seeds, whether I'm starting them inside or outside. So yeah, I'll group them together by time to plant. Then I showed you my little photograph boxes, and I'll put them in those boxes by the date, organized by the date, so that when it comes time to plant, I know everything that I'm planting at a particular time. I'm currently working on sterilizing my seed starting equipment. I actually have a bunch here just sitting in my freezer waiting to be sterilized. But I've actually got a couple already sterilized, which is more of a head start than previous years when I've tended to wait until the absolute last second to sterilize it. But anyway, I plan to start my first seeds, which would be onions and peppers, at the end of February. So I will do a video about that. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.